All right, first and foremost, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kwadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and bishops of Great Millstone, and shalom to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. And we can see the direction that this world is going in, this so-called white man Esau Edom's world, in which these rich elite crackers, beginning with the banking families on down, starting with the Rothschilds, they're setting up this new world order. And we know that eventually within this new world order, they're going to set up a global digital economy, because the end game for them is to microchip everybody in the world with that RFID chip implant, or the BCI, the brain chip implant. And we know that that's the mark of the beast according to the Bible, Revelation 13:16-18. That is the prophecy of the mark of the beast. It's when they finally implement that global digital economy and bring forth that chip and make it mandatory for all people to take, to buy and sell. But see, this is a whole system that's being set up. And the phase that we're in right now, they're setting up a global biometric digital ID system. So I'm gonna read this Google AI overview on what this biometric digital ID system is, because this is being implemented all over the world. In Australia, in Europe, in Mexico, in America. China already damn near has this system in place, if not fully set up yet, right? So what is this? A global biometric digital ID system is being developed, offering a unified way to verify identity across various platforms and services. While not yet fully realized, this system aims to streamline access to online services, financial tools, and other essential functions worldwide, enhancing both convenience and security. Yeah, convenience and security for the elites, to spy on the people, keep more tabs on them, to mitigate fraud. Because for an example right now, I don't know if you brothers been noticing, but even in the news, they're talking about how these different websites are upgrading their verification process. They're making it more strict, all right, because you got all these so-called little kids on the internet, on sites that they don't belong on, etc. And basically they're easily able to bypass these verification systems by putting a fake name, fake age, fake birth year, etc. And so now they're saying that they're going to start using ID verification, you know, your physical ID card, to verify yourself to get on these different websites, to make sure that you're over the age of 18. But there was already a situation in which a child that was playing a particular video game, he or she was able to create a character within this video game and use the face scan of the video game character to access one of these websites. So it's just going to show you that even though they got these AI systems that they're setting up, they still don't have the control and the restrictions that they want. And so how much better would it be to have a person biometrically identify themselves, in which supposedly nobody has the same fingerprints or eye scan, retina scan, right? So this will individualize everybody to where you can't pretend to be somebody else, or, you know, create a fake identity outside of this system. I mean, people are still going to find a way to do it, but it will just be that much harder for a person to wiggle their way out of a system like this. So this is why they're setting it up in preparations for when they bring that chip. Everything will be more organized. Everybody's file and biometric identity would already be established, all right, which this will either allow you or restrict you to access their world, because that's what they're creating, the Internet of Things, the smart cities, where people are going to be restricted if they're not able to biometrically identify themselves through the RFID chip. Eventually, you're not going to be able to buy and sell. So this is the prophecy of Revelation 13:16-18, really 15-18, because in the 15th verse, it starts telling you how they're bringing forth this new world order to life, and how eventually it's going to be by the penalty of death if you don't want to participate in this system. So us, the hopeful elect, we could see these things coming, man. And just a quick side note, when you're using the AI overview, you got a number at the top right of the page. You could click that number and they'll show you all the articles that this AI overview took to gather this information to give you this concise, you know, summary. So that's why it's just quicker and more convenient to use that. But it says key aspects, centralized verification. The core concept is a single biometric-based digital identity that can be used for authentication across different applications and platforms. Eventually, these platforms are going to be the money. All right, the CBDC, the central bank digital currencies, the global digital economy. You're not going to be able to access a digital economy without a biometric digital identification. It's that simple. They will not allow you to use their services, access their services, or get into their services without this biometric digital ID. And that is just a precursor for them to put the chip in you, because what better biometric digital identification than an actual chip inside of somebody's body that contains all your records, all your files. You know, it'll have your bank records, your hospital records, everything. It's going to completely biometrically identify you. And if you don't have that, well, then you can't go to the supermarket. You can't go on Amazon.com. You won't even be able to access the internet, because they're actually setting this up in Australia. They're doing a biometric, a government issued biometric digital ID that you're going to need to get on the internet. And like I said earlier, in China, you already got systems like this in place, man. So it's not far-fetched. It is not a conspiracy theory. We're not just pulling this out of our ass. It's a real thing, and it's happening right before our eyes. Enhanced security. Biometric data such as facial features or iris scans is used to create a unique digital identity, making it more secure than traditional passwords or usernames. It's not more secure for us because we got to give up all this information. You basically giving up your bodily autonomy, and the fact that everybody was created uniquely, differently. Nobody has the same fingerprint. That's supposedly according to what Esau said, but I believe it's true. So you basically giving up one of the most private things about you, which is something that separates you from everybody else. But you think you're doing it in the name of security. Yeah, security for them. All right, safety and convenience for them to easily track you, to easily identify you, to where you can't get around this system anymore. That's what it's all about. It says global accessibility. Initiatives like World ID, which use orbs to create digital identities based on biometric scans. Apostle Tahar did a video on that years ago. Aim to make this technology available globally. And the UN, the United Nations, they're a big part of this too, because I can't remember what the actual name of the program is. You could easily look it up. It might be called something like Building Blocks or something like that. It's always with them B's, you know, Build Back Better, the Big Beautiful Bill, in which Elder Yaquah broke it down. That's really a 666, a lowercase b. It looks like the number 6, right? But it's something with bees. And basically what they do is they feed homeless people throughout the world. They call themselves trying to solve global poverty and homelessness and hunger, starvation and all that. But here's the catch. They don't give you any benefits or help, food or nothing until you biometrically identify yourself. You got to give them your fingerprint and iris scans, your face scan, in order for them to help you. So really what they're doing is they're creating this global database where everybody's biometric identity. It's basically just going to be one big system in which they have everybody's information. It says potential applications. Digital IDs could be used for various purposes, including accessing financial services, educational resources, social platforms, and even travel verification at airports. So in many words, you will not be able to do anything in this world without having this digital ID, this biometric digital ID. But what's the most important one that it says? Accessing financial services. That is a direct link to the prophecy, Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. The he is talking about the so-called white man, but not just any old so-called white man, Edomite. It's talking about the rich banking elites, the ones who have the control of the global banking institution, the ones that loan money to governments with usury on it, with interest rates on it, to basically indebt them and turn them into slaves of debt, which is Proverbs 22 and 7. And it is a law in the Bible. These are the people with the power, man. Job 9 and 24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. The word hand in the Hebrew is yad, which means power. So they are the ones with the power on the earth to implement this system like this, to causeth all. Causeth meaning what? To make it a law, legislation, a bill, an act, or whatever it may be. They're going to make this chip, this mark, mandatory. Mark in the Greek is charagma, which means an incision, an imprinted mark. It says the branding upon horses when you look at it in a blue letter. So this is a physical mark, and it's not going to be putting 666 upon somebody's skin or their forehead, putting the number 666 on their hand. No, this is going to be the digital biometric system that's being set up. It's going to be that RFID chip being implanted into your skin. That's what this mark is going to be. And a brain chip implant, which is their foreheads. It says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So this chip is going to give you the access to buying and selling financial services, like it said here in the AI overview. Potential applications, digital IDs could be used for various purposes, including accessing financial services. What did John see in his vision? And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, meaning you're not completely into this system. That microchip implant is going to be the final nail in the coffin to lock everybody into this new world order, into this global digital economy, into this biometric digital ID system. That's going to be the final piece that puts it all together, man. So this is some real crafty shit that the so-called white man has come up with. And he's going to implement it because it's Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that put it in his spirit to do this. Proverbs 21:1, it tells you the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So it was the Most High who put these thoughts into the so-called white man's head, because ultimately it's biblical prophecy. It's the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that he said will be done. And the scriptures say that the Most High is not a man that he shall lie. So this is going to be done. So I'm going to read a couple verses out of Psalm, the 64th chapter, and I'm going to end the lesson on that, because this shows you the mind of these devils, all right, what they're thinking. Psalm 64:1. Hear my voice, O Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. So King David is praying to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to save his life from his enemies. Who is his main enemy? Who's the main enemy of the Israelites? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom. So ultimately, we in a worst case scenario right now because our enemies are ruling over us, and they're the ones that got the power on the left-hand side. So we as a people, the hopeful elect, we're going to need divine intervention from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to be preserved from this, to be delivered from this. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. The secret counsel of the wicked are the elites. They're the ones that are conspiring and plotting this new world order and implementing it right in front of everybody's face while nobody could see it. It's not something that's openly known to the public. The scriptures say that these people are in gross darkness. Darkness represents ignorance. So most of the people of the world, they don't know that this is a global conspiracy by the bankers. They have no idea what's going on. They think this is just AI and humankind evolving, and you know, we just getting smarter, and technology is increasing. That's what they believe, not knowing that this has all been a plot and a plan by wicked people who are counseling together, that are conspiring together. It says, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. And if you listen to the things that the spokesmen for these elites, they come straight out like the devil that they are. They say, we don't need God no more. We got technology. We're going to live forever through AI and brain computer chips and all of that. All right, they're coming out attacking the righteousness of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and openly rebelling against his way, which is the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. They got their own way that they want to do things. Transhumanism. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. And that's talking about they coming against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, and they don't fear that the things that they blaspheming and speaking against the Lord, that they're going to have to pay for that. That Yahushua is actually going to visit them and judge them. See, they don't fear these things because they're proud. The scriptures say pride goes before destruction. So really, they are provoking Yahweh Bashim Yahushai by all the things that they're saying and doing for the Lord to ultimately just destroy them. And that's what's going to happen in the end. There's going to be a third world war on this planet Earth, in the so-called white man's world, and it's going to be destroyed by nuclear fire. ICBMs getting fired off from one end of heaven, from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth. All right? They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? You see, that's what they do. They have their Bilderberg meetings, all right? They have their Council of Foreign Relations, their trilateral committees, and all these different groups in which it's only closed off and reserved for them. And nobody knows what they be talking about in these meetings. But that's what they're doing. They're encouraging themselves in an evil matter. They're plotting and planning. These are Satan's devices. It tells you that in 2 Corinthians 2:11 that we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. And when you go into that word in the Greek, it's noema, which means evil schemes. So this is what they do. They scheme and they lay snares privately. They lay traps privately and say, who shall see them? Because the general population of the world is not there and nobody knows what they're talking about. Verse 6, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. See, so these people, they don't think like everybody else in the world thinks. They have a deep mind. They search things out. That's what the word heart means in the Hebrew is lab, which is your mind. All right, they go deep, man. They do a lot of research. They put a lot of money forth. They hire people. All right, they got these different technologies and the AI. They the ones that brought all of this forth, but it was Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that gave it to them. Their wickedness is deep, man. All right, they search things out well. They're not simpletons like the rest of the people in this world, man. Ultimately, the Lord gave them that mind to accomplish his task, his will, which is to set up this new world order. All right, this global biometric digital ID economy, and ultimately to chip everybody, in which they could tell you that, oh yeah, the chip is not harmful, the radiation and all that. That's bullshit, because Revelation, the 6th chapter, it lets you know that the people who do take that mark of the beast, that RFID microchip implant, they're going to develop sores on their body, which is basically a cancerous, bubble. So you're going to be able to tell who got the chip, man. This man is promising you all this privacy and it's more safe, it's more secure. It's harder to hack. How could somebody hack your chip or your hand? Or, what they're going to do, cut your hand off, and you're going to see there's always a way for something to be hacked. All right, whether it may just be harder to do it, but somebody, some way will find a way to hack that. All right, there is going to be loopholes and things like that, because this man is not perfect. All right, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai ways are perfect. The kingdom of heaven is going to be perfect. This man is not perfect. He is not the Most High. This is a piece of technology that can be hacked. Whether it costs a lot of money, you got to pay the top hackers of the world. It could be done, man. So you can't fall for this man's bullshit. And ultimately, that's what's going to be the hour of temptation. Revelation 3:10. There's going to be no other way to live in this world without that chip. So that's when we're going to have to put all faith and trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to feed us and our families. The Lord said that his servants will eat in the time of famine. You got to believe that. Revelation, the 14th chapter, gives you the judgment of those that take the RFID microchip implant. Not only are you going to get that boil, that cyst, that cancerous sore, but you're going to be burned in nuclear destruction in World War III. When America, Babylon the Great, is destroyed by the missiles, you're going to be right in that fire. All right, so this is a fearful thing, man. You got to fear Yahweh Bashim Yahushua in his truth, and to ultimately reject that RFID microchip implant, because the whole world is going to be revolving around that chip. Your family might take the chip. Everybody's going to have the chip, and you're going to be the outcast. You're going to be the one that's not allowed into society, not allowed on the internet. You might not even be able to use a phone. All right, how deep this man has searched this thing out, man, and planned it out. So, hey, man, you got to trust in the Lord. That's the message. With that, I'm going to say, Kol Haloyim, La Yahweh Bashim El Shai. Hope and pray you edified through the Holy Spirit. Shalom.